Halloween, Halloween, hot jack-o'-lantern, it's Halloween. Apples hanging high, there's a big pumpkin pie in the sky. Children sing, children waltz, who gives a darn if your face is false? Jump on your broom like a witch, go and toss all your gloom in the ditch. Go out on the street for a trick or a treat, you're a cinch to strike it rich. Halloween, Halloween, all other holidays fall between. The night of All Hallows, so light up the tallow and make it a bright Halloween.
Caution. Children should not attempt to carve without adult supervision. Please exercise extreme caution when handling knives. The producers and distributors of this program are not responsible for injury resulting from procedures described or demonstrated in this video. Please carve carefully.
Happy Halloween, everybody. I'm Gordy Falk. And this Halloween, I want to teach you how to carve a few really innovative, neat jack-o'-lanterns, simply and easily. About 8 years ago, I started carving pumpkins, and it got a little out of hand. I carved between 500 and 800 different pumpkins every Halloween. So that's about 4,000 pumpkins in the last 8 years. I learned a few simple, innovative tricks, common sense type things that anybody who has done as many as I have would have thought of to make pumpkin carving simpler, more creative, and more fun. If you come with me now, we'll get started. We're going to carve a few pumpkins, show you the tricks, and have a lot of fun. Shall we go? We've got a nice little 5-pound pumpkin here, and the first thing we have to do is get the top off. Most people make an elemental mistake. The pumpkin is a great, big, huge piece of God's creation, and they want a great, big, huge knife. And they reach in the drawer and pull out something that you could probably win the Peloponnesian Wars with. Now, you pick a knife like this, you are doomed to carve straight lines. Because, and we'll use the back side of this pumpkin, which is the practice side, you stick it in and you cannot make a turn. It is a straight line. What you want to do, and this goes for detopping, and we'll get more into the selection of knives for the actual face itself a little later on, you want to pick one of the skinniest knives in your drawer. This knife is a fruit knife. It's sharpened on both sides. It is very narrow from front to back, and it costs about $1.79 in most grocery stores. It does a beautiful job of detopping and also carving. I'll be using this knife most of the day. We'll again go on the practice side here, and you can see how easy this goes in and how you can make nice curves with it. This is a good way to make the top. Stick it in. Now you notice while I'm carving, the knife is in at about a 45-degree angle. You don't want to go down like this because when you get your top off and you put it back on, it'll disappear into the insides. You want to make sure that the top, when it rests on it, has a place to rest. When I get around to where the top started, I make a little bit of a curlicue. You can carve a square, or there's any number of ways to do it. This just seems to be a nice, easy way. And the top goes back on and almost falls right into the spot. You can see. You can make them square, triangular, hexagonal, any way you want. They all work. This is just the way that I do it, and I find it clean and simple. And now we have the top off. We're ready to hollow it out. All right, we got the top off, and we're ready to take out the insides. Some people would rather slaughter a cow than take the insides out of a pumpkin, but it's really pretty easy if you know a few tricks. The object, again, is pick the right tool. I use an old spoon with a wood handle, a nice stiff shaft, and it works pretty well. It works a lot better than putting your hands inside and getting all gunked up. It's not necessary. What I do is make a scraping motion along the sides, and in a minute or two, it's done. You're making the same motion the entire time. You're just rotating the pumpkin around and around and down and down. And if you have any luck at all, at the end, you get to the bottom, you scrape sideways, straight down, because that's where it's attached to. And you got it all in one nice big lump. And, Lord willing, pumpkin is almost clean. We didn't say you could do this in a suit, but it's good enough to carve. In your drawer, most of you will have a paring knife. A normal knife, fairly thin. It works pretty well. An attractive face is one with curves, just like yours. There's not a straight line on any human being's face. It's all ovals, curves, S-shapes, and that's what makes the personality of a pumpkin. This is probably the #1 knife that I use, and it can be bought in any store. This knife is about 4 or 5 inches long, relatively thin, and this is important. It is sharp on both ends. This is another good knife. You can find similar knives, not the same one. This knife right here has carved 2,000 or 3,000 pumpkins in about the last 8 years. It's flexible, skinny from the sharp end to the butt end, and it is not exceedingly sharp. It doesn't need to be. If it's thin enough, it'll go through the pumpkin quite easily. Here's another knife that'll work well. It might be in your drawer, and it is also skinny and flexible. We want to practice on a part of the pumpkin that we're not going to use. A good place to practice is on the back. Most pumpkins, you can tell what the back is by where it was laying on the ground when it was growing. Here's one. You can see it's got a little few blemishes, etc. When we picked this one out earlier, it was full of black dirt. The best place for the face is generally opposite the part where the pumpkin was laying on the ground. Now, the critical thing you want to find out is how small a curve you can make with your knife. And then you don't want to attempt anything smaller than that, otherwise you'll botch the job. You can make nice little practice circles on the back of your pumpkin. What I do, stick it in, put a little pressure sideways, and just in a sawing motion, start twisting and turning. Now, that's a pretty small hole. Maybe your knife won't carve a hole like that. Let's see how big a hole we'll be able to carve with the normal paring knife. We'll stick it in, put the twist on it. Whoops, we hit a soft spot, that happens. You can stick the knife back in and keep the pressure on, and you can see our hole is quite a bit bigger. Now we're ready to think about putting a face on this guy. Most people, unless they know exactly ahead of time in their head what they want to put on the pumpkin, will draw something first. We're going to use a magic marker, and we're going to put a triangle face on this pumpkin, the traditional pumpkin that's carved with the fat knife, but with a difference. We're going to put a few radiuses on there, and we'll show you how to do that. This is the face that you carve using a big knife. Triangle nose, generally a mouth that looks something like this, with maybe a tooth like that. All straight lines, all right? And sometimes it's off center. What we'll do, I'm going to use the smallest knife, and we're going to carve around the area. We go up. Now when we get to the top, we're going to make a gentle curve instead of the sharp turn, and that's the advantage of the thin knife. We get there. Now notice the sawing motion. I make a nice little sawing motion. Now we'll do the same thing with the other side. Make a nice sawing motion. I didn't complete the bottom because we're going to do what? Make a pupil. And I'll draw that so that you can see. It's going to be like that. I'll stay on the inside of it so it doesn't show up on the pumpkin. The line, well, we can get rid of that later. Just around like that. I put my hand inside, and you notice I'm holding my finger on the thing, because once in a while you don't get a clean cut, and you can push out from the inside with your finger. Now what I also did, I bent this thing, and I want it to stay in there. The time-honored way of fixing pumpkins and it works extremely well, is with a toothpick. We just press down so that the part is solid along its original fracture. Stick the toothpick straight down as far as it'll go, and you break it off, and lo and behold, that thing is on there nice and tightly. Now we'll repeat the same thing on the next side. Using the outline of the triangle as our basic area, we'll make our turns, trying to keep the proportions the same, and make our pupil. All right, now we have the eyes, right? Now we have to work with the triangle nose. What we're going to do there is give this guy big wide nostrils. Notice the curves again. Little peak of the nose. We're going way out, back in. Now that's basically a triangle nose, but he has nice wide nostrils. Now you notice what happened here. It's not the same. Sometimes that doesn't make a difference. On this pumpkin, I'm going to try to make this side the same size as the bigger one. I can't make that smaller, so I've got to make my adjustments on the small side and make it large. You can go right back in and make a curve to kind of correct it and make it like the other one. Even if you mess up, save the piece. Stick it back. Takes a little bit of care. And with the old toothpick, you can stick it right back on again. I'm not going to take the time to get it exact, but we don't need to do that. But you don't have to worry about making a mistake. The easier and the more fluid you carve, the better looking your pumpkin's going to be. Now we're going to make his mouth. This time, we'll go right along the straight line. When we get to the end, we're going to make him smile. We'll curve up. We're going to come down, and we're curving now, but we're sort of the same idea of the straight line. Now, what I like to do, you don't have to do this, is make a big, dumb, happy tooth. These are straight lines. They're easy to do. We're staying on the inside. You can carve lots of teeth in a mouth, but it's been my experience that you don't need a bunch of teeth to make a nice personality pumpkin. And this guy, let's see how he looks. We can erase those lines. Notice again, I'm keeping my thumb on the weak section so it doesn't pop off like that first eyeball did. And there he is. What else do we have to do? Every human being has eyebrows. Unless you're one of these high-fashion gals who plucks them out. But we'll pretend that you're normal, and we'll give you a couple of eyebrows. We'll talk about eyebrows a little later. Eyebrows are an accent on the pumpkin. The real pumpkin, the personality of the pumpkin is formed by the eyes and the mouth. Even the nose is secondary. But it all adds up, and it makes a nice-looking pumpkin.
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
Hey kids, are you ready for Halloween? Get your Mr. Cook trick-or-treat pail today. It's free with the purchase of the Treasure Chest Kids Meal. The Treasure Chest includes hamburger, fries, drink, and a sweet treat. Plus, your Halloween trick-or-treat pail free, only at Mr. Cook.
We got a whole pail at Mr. Cook.
Today, of course, is Friday the 13th, and there is also a full moon outside, the first such occurrence in 14 years. All of which leads to a rather appropriate story for this day. For years, things that go bump in the night have meant high ratings and high camp for local television stations. Scott Osborne takes a look at those individuals who make truly bad movies good TV viewing.
Welcome, welcome back to Late Night Fright Theater.
Oh, good evening.
Hometown stations have created a monster. They've transformed normal folks into masters of ceremonies who have become horribly successful, usually.
Wow!
Well, my baby loves a monster movie. My baby loves a monster movie. My baby loves a monster movie. And she watches on TV.
Local horror hosts of every imaginable description have been lurking about since the mid-1950s when horror films were unveiled on television. And these days, even more candidates are dying to sign on, queuing up for auditions and taking their cues from the old masters.
I hope you're paying attention so that you can learn a thing or two. I tell you the story of my old friend, Dracula.
One of the first hosts to take a bite out of the audience, Roland.
Well, in Philadelphia, we were doing a cowboy show, a live cowboy show, horses, all that stuff. And one week I played an undertaker. And they remembered that, and when the films were released for TV, they said, hey, you want to do this? And I never tried out for it or anything. And it worked.
Picking up stakes and moving to New York, he assumed his own name.
There you are. Been waiting for you. Long time. This is Zachary here.
Zachary is one of the real survivors, but there's a generation of new horror hosts.
Oh, come in. Don't be afraid. I won't fight, and you're bound to have a good time. Or my name isn't Elvira. When people watch the show, I don't think they're watching for the movies. Some people are, because some people are bad film aficionados like myself. But I think the majority of people that watch, from the mail I get anyway, tune in to see me say what they are saying at home.
Should have shown one of those Filipino vampire chops.
Yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Los Angeles actress Cassandra Peterson has fashioned Elvira into an attractive package. She's materialized in more than 50 TV markets and boasts a line of T-shirts, bumper stickers, greeting cards, records, and buttons. A nice story. Local ghoul makes good. Elvira has some deadly competition, however.
Good evening, my darklings. Lucretia, we really must get together again. For sure, for sure.
Good evening and welcome to Theater of the Macabre.
I don't think I want to hear this.
Different-looking hosts have popped up across the country. Some play it straight.
Welcome to my kingdom of darkness and light.
Others go for the jugular with humor.
Don't forget, National Duck Day is around the corner.
Of course, there are the traditionalists.
Let's go, come!
Those who take off with elaborate costumes.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane.
No, it's super host.
And there are hosts who are simply laid back.
And we hope that you enjoyed seeing our drive-in movie special tonight from the great open-air drive-in theater here at Night Owl Theater. Basically, I've always been an iconoclast, and I just feel that movies are not the holy grail. A movie is a movie is a movie, and true, some of them are art, but you just really can't take them or anything that seriously, so it's fun to kind of puncture the balloon just a trifle.
A favorite pastime of horror hosts, poking fun at movies and television shows.
When there's nobody home in the neighborhood, we visit someone who's got stuff that's good and steal it. We can steal it.
But the most fun local horror hosts have is at their own expense.
What can I voice off as a movie this week?
Well, how do you like the movie so far?
Well, me and my girlfriend, we love watching horror movies.
In many ways, hosting horror and science fiction movies is a throwback to the simpler days of television.
In a way, we're kind of the Tyrannosaurus Rex of the business. There are fewer and fewer of us around the country.
The budgets are minuscule, the sets are jerry-rigged, but for 4 decades, those local horror movie hosts have provided a human touch. Well, almost human.
Stagehand, wave goodbye to everybody.
Catch you next time.
Good night, whatever you are.
Next up, the first look at the German...
Regresa la venta que todos pidieron. Es la excitante venta al pasillo en Plaza Carolina este viernes y sábado. Nuestras tiendas tendrán mercancía en el pasillo a precios de economía en la gran venta al pasillo. El sábado los empleados de las tiendas en disfraces darán colorido al evento. Recuerda, la venta al pasillo este viernes y sábado en Plaza Carolina.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
If you like your terror adult and strong, welcome here, you can't go wrong. Dolls will kill, the dead will too. It's all right here to entertain you.
Those misgear bats may bite, but we all know there's no rules in the game of fright. Listen to my friend. Give him your neck if you dare. Here's his cousin standing tall. Pull his plug, and he might just fall.
Ghosts and ghouls are all my friends. Open your door and let them in. Once inside, do not offer them a treat, because if you do, it'll be you they'll eat. So be smart and tell them they're groovy, and ask them to stay and watch the movie.
Okay, Bob. Bring Mommy the cup so she can finish washing the dishes. Watch it, Bobby. Be careful now. You know we done broke 3 glasses this week already. You know Mommy isn't rich. Thank you, Bobby. Yes, son. I'll tell you a story. Go have a seat in the front room till Mommy finish. She's been there and she'll tell you a story. Oh, you have a new book for Mommy to read. Okay, Bobby. You bring Mommy the book and she'll read the book to you. Tales from the Quad-Dead Zone. Huh? That sounds good. Let's see. Oh. Here, Bobby. This seems like an interesting story. The name of this story is Fool 4. Question mark. Once upon a time, there lived this family named the Novaks in a small town outside of Kansas City. Dinner time was a very special time for the Novaks because hunger had become a way of life for this poor family. One day, on a hot summer's evening, the Novaks were in the kitchen talking to one another, as they always did at mealtime.
You should have been done a long time ago. Yeah, but you know that's me with stuff. I need to work around. Just ain't no good. He's too old.
I'm your baby. Oh, yeah, he's a dog. How big is he?
When he was born, he was about 10 pounds.
Ah, he.
Let's bow our heads. Thank God for this food. Although we're poor, there's 8 of us at the table, and there's only food for 4. we're supposed to be here yesterday. 2:30. I went there nothing at all. We got it.
We're gonna have to raise them, get them in, plow them up.
I got mine now. There's some taters I'm trying to see
now. Ed, thank God for this food that we're about to eat. It will help keep us alive. There's 8 of us at this table and only food for 5.
Oh, hang on.
Well, let's see. I didn't think. Here, this chicken.
I know it. Want a potato?
Yeah.
What do you got? And that's mom. Give me the cheese.
I want to know which one of y'all gonna wash dishes tonight.
She is. I'm not washing them. It's your turn. It's your turn. Don't start with me, man. You did it. Your turn.
I won't fuss over it.
Why'd you do it?
I might as well.
Let's bow our heads. Thank God for this food we're about to eat. We appreciate it,
Jesus.
really do.
Here we go again.
Although
I hope I get lucky tonight.
there's 5 of us at the table, there's only food for... Let's bow our heads. Thank God for this food, although we're poor. There's 8 of us at the table, and there's only food for 4.
Darn, I lost again.
Oh my God!
Let's bow our heads. Thank God for this food that we're about to eat. It will help keep us alive. There's 8 of us at this table and only food for 5.
Everybody back to their seats.
That was a strange tale, wasn't it, Bobby? Did you enjoy it? Since you liked that story so much, Bobby, Mama will read you another one. She has time.
You're watching Sleepcore. Sleep tight.
This film was made possible by a grant from the Colgate-Palmolive Company, worldwide leaders in dental research and oral care products.
I've been waiting for you. Yes, you with the teeth. But allow me to introduce myself. The name is Plaque. B. Plaque. That's B for bacterial. Actually, I already know you. Oh, yes, very well. Especially your mouth. I'd venture to say I know your mouth better than you do. I should. I live there. It's quite comfortable, really. Warm, cushiony, and it has everything I want. Your teeth and gums. Oh, didn't you know? I deal in tooth decay and gum disease. And I love my work. You can't see me, of course, because I am invisible. An invisible film, to be exact. A most satisfactory arrangement for me. I find it a decided advantage for collecting these. But come, take a closer look. Closer. Don't be afraid. They don't bite. Not when I get through with them. These belong to a lovely young girl with a craving for sweets. The gooier, the stickier, the better. The better for me, Plaque, because my invisible film is infested with hundreds of millions of bacteria that thrive on all those sticky, gooey, sweet things you eat. I spread them along the gum line and every crevice inside and out. When they get together with the sugary remains on your teeth, they produce devastation. A decay acid that can eat right through the enamel to the very heart of your tooth. See what I mean? Now, this young fellow had an unfortunate failing. He could never remember the right way to brush his teeth. My bacteria had a ravenous time in his mouth, especially between his teeth. Like here. Of course, dental floss was too much trouble. Oh, once in a while. But every day, not a chance. But this is my prize. Perfect. Not one single cavity. Yet I got it just the same. I spread gum disease. Here and here. All around that tooth. But since the owner didn't see her dentist regularly, she didn't realize it until her gums were so weak, they couldn't hold on. It was that easy. That's the trouble. You make it too easy. All you care about is your hair, your clothes. You don't really care about your smile, about using an accepted fluoride toothpaste. You make destroying your teeth so easy, there's no excitement in it. No challenge. Look, I'll make you a sporting proposition. I'll show you how to beat me at my own game. And you won't do it. That's right. I'll show you exactly how to protect your teeth and gums from me. And I'll still win. I know you. Oh, maybe you don't think I'm in your mouth at all. Then take this disclosing tablet and see for yourself. Now, look in the mirror. See where it's turning red on your teeth? That's me, B. Plaque, in your mouth. Think you can fight that? I dare you. Look. These are your basic ammunition. Kid stuff, right? Don't be fooled. Without them every day, you haven't got a chance. Take the toothbrush, but not just any toothbrush. One with a flat brushing surface and soft bristles rounded at the end. And you'll need a fluoride toothpaste, but not just any one. A fluoride toothpaste accepted by the American Dental Association. Remember that. If you want to be sure your toothpaste not only cleans your teeth, but also makes the enamel stronger, more resistant to decay acid. Personally, I'm against it. Now, let's see you brush to remove plaque. Oh, marvelous. You'll never get rid of me that way. You have to angle the bristles against the gum line. There, where the teeth and gums come together. That's right. Now brush back and forth with short, vibrating strokes, as if you're polishing each tooth. Gently, though. Now, that's better. Clean like that outside. Now, inside. I don't know why I bother. You'll never remember anyway. Now, scrub up and down with the tip of your brush. Inside your front teeth. Up and down. Up and down. Little short vibrating strokes like before. Yes, and don't forget those chewing surfaces. We're not just there. Get all the way back. Well, not that well. Want your teeth to last forever? Okay, now finish the job. If you prefer not to spend a couple of extra minutes a day using dental floss, I shall be eternally grateful, since that's how you could get rid of what the brush missed between your teeth. Now, slide the floss between two teeth. Then up gently. Gently, I said. Just under the gum line. Then scrape the tooth away from the gum. Be sure you scrape away from the gum so you don't injure it. That's simple enough, isn't it? Keep going, scraping carefully until you've done both sides of every single tooth, top and bottom. You'll be denying me some of my best hiding places, places where I do my work undetected. If you'd brush and floss like that every day, I couldn't touch you, because it takes me 24 hours to start trouble. But let an entire day go by without a thorough brushing and flossing, and no one can stop me. No one but a dentist. Those regular checkups ruin my plans every time. It's a dentist who can remove the plaque you miss when it's turned into hard, destructive calculus. It's a dentist who can apply special strength fluoride directly to your teeth. A dentist... Oh, one of these days. It's time. Time to put you to the test. To find out how much you've learned from our little meeting. Learned about me. About yourself. Tell me, how's your sweet tooth? Indulge yourself. Have some chocolate and caramel and all the sticky, gooey, sugary food you want. Why not? It's only your teeth. Lollipops, cake, donuts, jelly, jam, cookies, marshmallow. Oh, don't run away. Don't be a fool. Running away won't help. It won't help. Won't help. I told you. You can't run away from me. There's only one thing you can do. Fight me. Fight me every day. I've shown you how. Now let's see you do it. Let's see you beat me. It's so easy. So easy. But I know you. You won't do it, will you? Will you? You won't do it, will you? Will you? Will you? Will you?
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
Parental discretion is advised for the following program. The Now and Then Show is made possible by assistance from the following businesses. Southern Exposure, taking care of all your hair care needs, located on Main Street in Mendocino. M&J's Home Video Movie Rentals, located on the corner of Lansing and Ukiah Streets in Mendocino. Fort Bragg Rental, the place to get all your Halloween costumes any time of year. And John Chamberlain, creator of fine signs, graphic arts, and posters.
Dark and stormy nights, people tend to watch the tube and tune into the now legendary Now and Then show, starring that vampire extraordinaire, that smooth-talking ghoul, Adbab This is Morticia Sanger, inviting you to join us for the next 60 minutes and enjoy Bob's guests. Face painter Kathy O'Grady, Halloween specialist Alice Forsythe, Meadow and Star, musical guest Michael Ward, and costume locals. With eerie music provided by the infamous Now and Then Orchestra. And now, here he is, that undead man who thinks sunshine should be banned, Odd Bob Avery.
Good evening. Welcome to the Halloween edition of the Now and Then show. It's going to be bloody good. I would like to welcome back to our Now and Then band, Louis. Where have you been, Louis?
Down in the city.
Yes,
Getting
was
my
it
life
good?
in- yeah, great, man.
You had a good time.
Do I even have to explain?
No, you look fine tourist. Welcome back.
Thank you. Nice
We're
to
glad
be
to
back.
have
Happy
you.
Halloween. You're
Thank
looking
you.
pretty good yourself.
I'm feeling sharp.
Those teeth, are
Yes.
they a new addition, Bob?
No, I've had these for years. I file them occasionally, but I need them. You get the point? Now, I would like to say good evening to my wonderful desire of 7,000 years, Morticia.
Darling.
Good evening, and welcome to the Now and Then show. Welcome to audience. Good night. How are you? Yes? We're very happy to have you here this evening. We have a wonderful show lined up for you. We'll be right back after this short break. And as they say in the business, let the ghoul times roll.
So hard to smile.
Well, we're back. And we're so happy you're here tonight. Morticia, this is our time of year, isn't it?
Darling.
This is time when we go out and we enjoy the evening, the fresh breezes.
Trick or treat.
Trick or treating
So
is
nice.
good. Bloody good. So we have a good show tonight, but first I think I should read letters because some of our guests out there have been wondering where we've been. So we'll catch them up, shall we?
I think so.
Here's letter. Dear Odd Bob, welcome back. Or shall I say Count Avery, welcome back. I knew you would return tonight. I've predicted many more fantastic happenings, so don't be surprised. I know you'll be on the next year, so have a good time forever yours, Michael Nostradamus. Dated and mailed October 14th, 1586. My good friend Michael.
So nice of him to keep in touch, darling.
Really, and the paper is still intact.
So nice.
This is too. When I had dinner with King Tut, he gave me this. It was several thousand years ago.
So becoming on you, darling.
It's nice, you like?
Yes.
I do too. Dear Aunt Bob, where have you guys been? I've been waiting for you to return for 6 months. What happened? Did someone move or quit? Please let me know. I wrote this out of frustration when I heard rumors of a new show. Thanks for returning, Janet Fandaring. Oh, I don't remember Janet. Good woman.
Tasty,
You remember
too.
Janet?
So tasty.
Very tasty. Yeah, she stayed with us a long time. Almost eternity, yeah?
Hello, this is Blind Lemon Evans introducing a new section of the Now and Then show, the Video Movie Reviews, brought to you by M&J's Video Store in Mendocino. Since this is the Halloween show, I understand I'll be reviewing 2 movies of the monster genre mode. The first one that we'll review is Fright Night, and the second one is Howling 2. Okay, Fright Night. It's a special effects movie with subtle humor and sort of wimpy characters. The humor of the movie lets the characters slide through with ease. The story revolves around a young man, played by William Ragsdale, who is trying to convince his girlfriend, Amanda Bierce, and the police that his next-door neighbor, who has just moved in, is a vampire. The vampire, played by Chris Sarandon, finds out that the young man knows that he is a vampire. And one night, the vampire sneaks into the young man's room and gets the upper hand on him. Here's the clip. After this scene, the young man is steadfast in his quest to rid the town of this unwanted bloodsucker. After convincing his girlfriend, they enlist the aid of a late-night monster movie show. The host of the show is Roddy McDowall, and the name of the show is Fright Night, where the movie gets its name. Roddy McDowall is not really sure that the vampire is a vampire, so one night they confront him at the vampire's house. After seeing that there is no reflection in a mirror from the vampire, Roddy McDowall is convinced and becomes scared and flees the scene. Only later in the movie does he come back to the aid of the young man and the woman in the house of the vampire. This movie's finale of special effects tends to lift this movie above the normal monster movie. I would say you should rent this movie for a good night of entertainment in this time of year near Halloween. On the scale of 1 to 10 for the Blind Lemon Evans review, I would say it deserves a 7 or an 8. So I'll be back in a little bit with Howling 2.
Thank you, gentlemen.
So nice.
We're back. Well, let's take a look at our face painter on the program right now and see how she's doing. Very nice. We'll be checking with you as we go along. Well, Morticia, it's time now for us to learn something about Halloween.
What can we learn, darling? What
Well, you and I can't learn anything. We've been there and back.
You must keep an open mind, darling. You get stuffy in your young age.
No, I don't. No, I really don't. However, we'll talk about this later.
I'd love to.
In the meantime, I know many of you out there have a great curiosity about Halloween. Where it began, what is it all about? Well, we know, but we've brought with us this evening 3 special guests. And these women are here to help us explain the origins of Halloween and all of the legends that surround it. So at this time, I would like to introduce Alice Forsyth and Meadow and Star. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Maybe later I'll file these teeth so I can talk better. But in the meantime, you're here to help us explain the origins of Halloween. And I know there are many questions, and perhaps we should start with Halloween itself, what is it? What is it all about? Is it a holiday? What is it for? I mean, we celebrate it in strange ways, but there must be a reason.
Halloween is the middle time between the fall equinox and the winter solstice. And people before Christian times, that was their holidays, the equinoxes, the solstices, and every half time in between. For pagans, this was New Year's Eve.
How far back in history are we talking? Before Christianity?
Before Christianity,
So,
and during the time that Christianity tried to wipe out everybody else's way of doing things.
so 2,500 years ago and before.
And before and after. Because people, even after Christianity, still wanted to celebrate their old holidays that they've always had done.
But Christianity had a great deal to do with suppressing some of the older holidays, the Inquisition, the other things that occurred in history, the Dark Ages. Okay? So now, Halloween, is that All Hallows Eve? What does that mean?
Well, I think that's where Christianity sort of, in order to get a lot of people, you know, to view their opinions, they had to put in a few popular ideas that went along with what people were already doing. And Halloween originally was a time that all throughout Europe, especially, people celebrated that time. They thought that was when the ancestors came, their spirits came back to the earth to transfer some of the wisdoms they learned from the outer world back to them and back to the children, and people would leave presents and make sacrifices for the spirits that were returning, so the spirits wouldn't do any tricks on them. That's where trick or treat.
Okay, I was going to ask about trick or treating.
So people were already recognizing the fact that, you know, our ancestors' spirits were still around and communicating with them on that eve. And in Celtic and pagan times, the holidays were always celebrated on the eve, the night before. That was the big party, and the celebration, and then that day you experienced that holiday on that day.
Well, how has it come that we now dress in outlandish costumes and celebrate it in that way? It seems like something different has been introduced to the tradition in terms of, you know, I mean, this. Why do we do that? Is there a reason? Is it related to the origins, or is it just a manifestation of the spirits and the ghosts and the goblins? What is it? Why do we do that? Do you know?
I think it has to do with the idea of the spirits of the departed moving about close to the earth, ghosts, and what happened was as Christianity gradually grew and became more despotic about what they wanted people to believe and not believe. In order to convince the pagan nature people to convert, they had to take the rituals and the ideas and the beliefs that these people had and somehow incorporate them into the Christian religion, and they've done that about a great many things. And thus it's called All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve is a Christian expression.
Okay.
That
Does that
came
make
about
Halloween
later.
a Christian event exclusively? I mean, it's not anymore because everybody celebrates Halloween as a party kind of event. But in terms of the real origin of Halloween, it is a Christian event. Does it exist outside of Christianity?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it might not be called Halloween.
Be a different form.
Yeah.
Does it occur at the same time of year?
There's still celebration at this time all around the world, specifically to celebrate communication with the ancestors.
And on this particular equinox?
Yes.
Always the same?
Always the same time.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And the Asian people also, this time of year, it's their ancestor worship time. The same. So it's interesting that a lot of different cultures and religions and ethnic groups have it. And like in Celtic times, the holiday was called Samhain, S-A-M-H-A-I-N, and it came from the spirit Saman, and in the Semitic language, it's Samuel, which was the name of the god of the underworld. And winter's always traditionally been a time, you know, that things go back under the earth, the plants are under the earth, everything's supposed to be under the earth, getting ready to come up in the springtime, and that's sort of where the whole thing about the witches happened. You know, in traditional times, it was the three parts of life were mother, maiden, and crone. You know, not young, middle, and older part of life, and the crone or the hag was representative of the winter season.
Okay, the word witch originally was Wicca, right?
Yes,
and this meant wise old woman, old hag,
right.
And somehow it got changed over the centuries.
Yeah.
Witches then are a manifestation of a Christian function, right? I mean, they again, the question, do they exist beyond the Christian concept of a witch?
I think witches exist in spite of the Christian concept.
Well, certainly they must, because
Yeah.
they were terribly suppressed for a long time, and because the church was fearful.
Yeah, and thousands killed. And
Well, can you practice witchcraft without being a witch, for instance?
well, I think you can do magic whether you're a witch or
Okay, but demonology and black magic and sorcery and all these things are outside of witchdom. They're not a part of witchdom.
No, whatever I've read and heard and talked to people about, witchcraft is not specifically, it's more of a spiritual way of worshiping the elements and the seasons and the traditional ways that the earth is, you know, rather than sitting down and doing magic spells, you know, like from Shakespeare.
Boil,
you know,
bubble,
right,
boil,
right.
and trouble, yeah, all of that, no. Is it not basically originally, historically, kind of a nurturing business?
Yeah, the healers.
Yes.
The healers.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and it still persists to this day. It still exists, right? As healers, and not as broom-riding, strange, black-garbed.
It's not evil.
Weirdness.
It's
not evil, yeah.
Right.
In the eyes of the church, it's evil, but as a craft, it's not evil.
Be nice
Is
to
that what
have
it comes down to?
High-powered broom, though.
Oh, I wouldn't mind. Well, you get yourself a vacuum cleaner, motorized.
But
Okay.
because of the way the American holiday has gone and given all this bad press about witches, it's hard to call yourself that anymore, you know, because it seems like it's a bad thing when it might just be, you know, you're just following the tradition of being a healer, a woman healer, somebody who's into the earth, you know.
Well, I would think it would be more permissible now than it was several hundred years ago.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I mean, you can profess to be a healing witch now and not be persecuted for it extraordinarily. I mean, you would be persecuted but not burned at the stake, for instance, as Joan of Arc was, or anyone else that was tortured until they professed to be a witch when they probably weren't. It was a horrible time. I mean, sometime I would really like to sit down and talk about that whole
It's very
mystique
interesting, yeah.
around witchcraft and witches and the whole origin of it, but we don't have time for that tonight. But we are grateful to understand a little bit more about Halloween and what that's all about. I'm still confused. I still get dressed up every year and go out there and go trick-or-treat, and sometimes I get tricked and sometimes I get treated. And I haven't figured it out yet.
You know, all the commercial stuff has been added on top of that. So, you know, there's the traditional part of Halloween, and then there's the Christian concept, and then there's the commercialism of it all.
Well, Christmas,
Puts
everything is
us
commercialized.
all into how we do it, you know.
But are there people who still celebrate Halloween in the sense of its origin?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yes.
it still can be that kind of a legitimate celebration.
Oh, sure. I've heard about one happening in Mendocino, as a matter of fact.
Well, in Mendocino, anything can happen. That's the beauty of the place.
It does.
Well, you know, bobbing for apples is not a modern custom at all. That's an old pagan custom. It was bobbing in the cauldron of regeneration, and it was like catching souls when you caught an apple.
Really? I never knew that. Do you have more of these gems?
And the fruits of the season were pomegranates and
Pomegranates
apples,
and apples.
the owl was a very strong symbol, and bats. The critters that could see in the night. They
Were important.
thought to be related to the spirits because they could fly around in the nighttime, unlike other animals could.
Like myself.
No
Yes.
doubt you've run into a few on your journey.
Well, I'm losing something here. Well, I would like to thank you very much for being with us tonight. Which is, now, I want to know which one is Alice and which one is Meadow and which one is Star.
I'm Alice.
I knew this.
Star.
And Meadow. It's for the benefit of our audience. And thank you again so much for being with us tonight and explaining a little bit more about the origins of Halloween. And sometime again, truly, I would like to talk about witchcraft with you. And we have a different format and a different time. And it's not so ludicrous, you know? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Don't go away.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
Harry, Harry, I am the ghost of Halloween. If you do not treat your customers to bargains, I will trick you.
Save me from the ghost of Halloween. Come to Terry's 5 and 10 for your Halloween bargains.
Wow. He escaped from his cage at the zoo.
Sure did. That's a big bad wolf. And he's got his mask, his body, hands, and feet, and of course the attached tail. That goes great with Little Red Riding Hood. Or just scare a few people for the night.
I bet you do plan on scaring a few people, don't you, Mr. Wolf? You're going to hide up in the hills. Real menacing. Nice costume. Real good costume. Who do we have coming up next? Oh, yeah, there he is. Why don't you go ahead and explain him to me?
This is the mask from Jim Carrey's movie The Mask. He's wearing the gangster outfit with the yellow coat and the yellow hat and the mask. The mask can go with about 5 different outfits, according to what he wore in the movie.
Real dapper-looking character, isn't he? I'm waiting for him to start dancing and saying, "Somebody stop me," or... There he is. White tie, white shirt, yellow. The Mask. He's really styling, isn't he? There he is. There, he's getting into his little song and dance now. All right, thank you, Mask. Ah, there he goes. I'll give a round of applause for that one. All righty, thank you, Mask. Who do we have coming up next? Oh, boy. She's even got her broom with her.
That's a scary witch. She has her dress and her cape and her mask with the big hat and her broom.
Oh, wow.
She's out to scare all the kids this Halloween.
So you have a number of witch costumes, don't you?
Yeah, we have about 5 or 6 different witch costumes. And you can take them with or without a mask. We have a lot of wigs available if you don't want to wear a mask on your face.
Are you going to flip that cape around a little bit? Looked like she's going to flip there. Ooh. You're going to cast some spells on some people? Ooh. She looks like a mean witch. Broom and all. Look how big that hat is. Next. Ooh.
And here comes the ghoul. He's ready for his trick-or-treating night with the mask and the hooded brown robe.
Trick-or-treating looks like he's going to steal some trick-or-treats from some people.
Maybe steal a little candy.
You a distant cousin to the goblin? Yeah. Ghoul.
And that's a good outfit for the Crypt Keeper costume also.
Crypt Keeper. Boy, I tell you, we've got some really scary faces we're seeing here.
Oh yeah, lots of scary faces.
I know how your parents tell you trick-or-treating is just for fun, but you know better, right? I mean, why wear the mask and costumes if you can't come home with a bag full of candy? Well, that's where I come in. I want to show you what's hot and what's not in Halloween masks. What masks are going to bring home the goodies? First, a mask I'm not too hot on. I mean, masks that smile. Sure, it's going to get you plenty of laughs, but I doubt very few Snickers. Instead, we're going to get stuff like this: apples and Indian corn. Remember Mr. T? Of course you do, because that was last year's biggie. I repeat, last year's biggie. And last year's mask means last year's candy. Don't wear adult-looking mask. I mean, you're a kid, right? After all, adult mask means adult candy. The most popular masks this year, Popples and Teddy Ruxpin. But that's the problem. Everybody's going to be wearing them. I mean, the treater's likely to send you away empty-handed saying, haven't you knocked on my door 10 times already? And beware of the dog and cat mask. Teddy Cats won't bring you Kit Kats, and Scooby-Doo's won't bring you milk duds, but rather milk bones. And don't forget the threat of more Indian corn. Now some masks that do work. It seems macho masks are in. This is Chuck Norris. And remember, macho mask mean macho candy like Nestle Crunch. But the true favorites year in and year out are scary masks. And remember, more scares mean more candy. You see, treaters are likely to give you a lot of candy just to get rid of you. Are you ready for the biggie? The one mask that's bound to frighten everyone? And remember, more scares mean more candy. Look at this one. But don't say trick or treat. Just say,
hello, everybody. I'm Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan.
Scott?
Now, the top stories of the day, plus a first look at weather in the first 11 minutes. KNTV News, 11 at 11. Now, 11 at 11 Extra.
Yikes. By now, most trick-or-treaters have hauled home bags of candy and are tucked into bed for the night.
Well, chances are most of them ran through a couple of haunted houses and maybe a spooky graveyard tonight. As Kimberly Richardson shows us, there was some high-tech fun out there this evening with an old-fashioned ghosts and goblins feel to it.
As darkness descends on San Jose, workers scramble to put finishing touches on their high-tech haunted graveyard. For the past 16 years, this backyard has been turned into a spooky spectacle, complete with moving tombstones and clanking caskets.
This year also we have something new called the tombstone face illusion, which is it's kind of a morphing effect of a face pressing through a tombstone kind of thing.
Talking heads, flashing green eyes, a growling beast and raven gone mad. It's enough to scare even the bravest soul.
The kids want to run through and then keep going, but the adults just stop and they start thinking about how it was done, and they start asking, how did you do that? How did you do this?
But part of the fun is leaving some things up to the imagination. In the basement of this South 9th Street home, you never know what you'll run into.
We take all the neighborhood kids in here and we buy a lot of pumpkins and we let them carve them, and then they turn our basement into a haunted house, and they're the ones that get to scare everybody and everything, and it's just a lot of fun.
Well, not for everyone. Halloween can be a little overwhelming. But for others,
trick or treat,
it's business as usual.
Peter, grab it with
The game of bobbing for apples took on a new twist this year, with few trick-or-treaters grabbing a prize. Across town on Bird Avenue, the fog moved in. Frankenstein thought he ruled until he saw the pumpkins taking over. As the midnight hour draws near, these creatures of the night return to the dark world for 364 days of rest. Kimberly Richardson, KNTV News.
The Halloween festivities are winding down now, but people all over the nation were celebrating in very unique ways. The senior citizens celebrated their Halloween by dancing the polka. This dance hall in Chicago has been a magnet for polka fans for about 80 years. They strut their stuff every Tuesday. But these seniors were putting on more than their dancing shoes today, mixing Halloween with polka. People were dancing in the streets of New York tonight for the annual Halloween parade. Thousands of people turned out in full costume to parade the streets of Greenwich Village.
Hi. Do you get my costume? I'm a female executive who went through the glass ceiling. Actually, I hit the glass ceiling.
This is the 22nd Halloween party-goers have haunted this parade. Some younger trick-or-treaters began their Halloween celebration at the Happy Hollow Zoo in San Jose. The zoo opened early for youngsters ages 2 to 10 and their parents, of course. Organizers say it's a safe way for kids to celebrate before it gets too dark. The children aren't the only ones to get treats, though. The hippos get to eat the leftover pumpkins. And a Sunnyvale office got into the spirit of Halloween. Their 75 employees at West Valley Engineering transformed themselves into deathly figures and turned their cubicles into cemeteries and evil laboratories. The San Diego Chargers were not giving away candy this Halloween, but they were giving something very special to some very special needy children. Some of the players handed out shoes to children lined up at 4 stores in the East San Diego area.
This concludes our final feature for tonight on Triple Terror, Devil Dog, the Hound of Hell. Join us again on Monday evening for The Late Show, Trinity Is Still My Name, starring Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer.
You've been watching CKNX TV Channel 8 from Wingham, Ontario. Good night.